Did you know you can create sun catchers with a wood cutout and crushed glass and some resin? Well, I have these laser cutouts that we fill with crushed glass and resin and shell to make pretty sun catchers. You can hang them in the window, you can hang them on your wall, you can display them anywhere that you like, just not in direct sunlight. So I started by painting the outline black with black paint on both sides. And then I'm using something called paper transfer tape to create an adhesive backer to use to hold in all the stuff I'm going to put in there. So this is Frisco Craft. This is one I've been using, and it doesn't have a little barrier sheet, so you just kind of roll it back onto itself. It is sticky, and I like to fold in the corners, and I use a popsicle stick or a quart size stir stick that I get from Lowe's to use as like a brayer to burnish the back of these to make sure that that adhesive is stuck to the back of the wood. So I'm using crushed shell, and we have crushed shell, crushed glass, these wood cutouts, and resin in my shop, and I will put the information below, or you can comment the word Suncatcher, and I will send it to you in a message. So I'm using the crushed shell at the bottom, as you can see, and I'm going to do it on both of the cutouts. And I'm working on both of these simultaneously. I did this on a live video, so I'm just trying to go from one to the other. So you're going to see me do both of them. So for the water effect, I did some color combinations of the crushed glass. I used royal blue, mermaid tail, and tidal wave, and I just mixed them together, and then I'm going to pour them in the opening to create the water look. And then for the turtle, I used golden honey, and I also used, I think, mocha mist as well. I sprinkled that on the top, and then that is the mermaid tail color. And I'm just using my finger to mix the glass around because I don't want to mix it all together in a cup. I want to create a gradient effect, and so that's why I'm doing it that way. And then in the fins, I'm just going to use the mermaid tail to do that. And then in the head, I added mocha mist, but I think I really would have liked to have done a different color. But it's all in how you feel creative in expressing yourself and when you're crafting. So for the palm tree, I'm using Treetop. It is a green color. We do have a lighter green that's called Ivy Breeze, and I love how this looks. So for the sun, I'm creating a sunset or a glow in the sky of this one. And so I'm using Sunset Glow and Lemon Drop. And I'm going to do an ombre. So it's going to be orange on the outside and yellow in the middle. And it's really easy to create this look. You just have to have a little bit of patience and just pour it in and mix your glass around in the openings. And I'm showing you how I do it. I've been trying to show people other ways that you can create different gradients and looks that look more artistic and just challenge you in your crafting adventures. So this is how I did it. And then I'll be able to manipulate it a little bit more when I add the resin. So this is how I did the glow. It looks really cool. And then on the turtle, we're going to just use that same blue mixture for the water, and it's going out into the ocean. It's crawling off the beach and out into the ocean. So that's what I'm going to use for the water there, is that blue mix that I told you about earlier. And then once we get done with this, we're going to mix our resin. Now we have resin available. We just started carrying this. This is what our bottles look like. They don't have their labels on them yet, but they will come labeled A and B. So I'm using these clear cups that I get on Amazon. This cup happens to be 100 milliliters. And so I just marked the line so that I could see it because it's really hard to see in these cups. And you're doing equal parts. And I slowed this down so you can see that you're going to mix really slow. And then it's going to get cloudy before it gets clear again. And I scrape the sides. I do all the things to make sure that it's thoroughly mixed. You're going to see when it starts to get clear that it's really mixed. So it takes about 2 to 3 minutes to mix your resin. And there are other brands of resin you can get, but we do carry it because we wanted to try to make all of our products accessible to our customers so that you can get them when you order. We do not carry the cups or the sticks or the gloves or the backer, but you can get those in any craft supply store or on Amazon. So this is once it's all mixed, I'm just going to drizzle it in. And again, I've slowed it down so you can see how it's in real time. I'm just drizzling it over the outline, and I do start in the middle and work my way outward. And I make sure that I just put enough resin in to fill it up to the wood outline. Now, once you pour it, it looks like it's kind of doming, but the resin will level into the glass and level itself out. So try not to overfill. And it does take some practice to do that, but it is very easy to do. And then I'm going to do this. And then once we get it filled and it's kind of leveled itself out, I'm going to use a paintbrush to go over the wood outline because I like that look. I like it to look like it's dipped in glass. I don't know. It's a preference thing. Some people like the more rough look of the glass, and so they add less resin. Some people don't like the wood to be covered, so they don't cover it with the resin. I really like the coated look. I think it's really, really pretty. But for some, I do like the glass to be more textured. And so I just use less resin. But this is what I'm doing for both of them. And then I'm going to let them cure for about 12 hours before I pull off that sticky back. And it's really important that you let it cure long enough because you don't want your resin to be too wet or uncured when you're peeling off that backer. So I'm just using some 99% alcohol to spray. It does help pop some of the bubbles. And then I did not go from spraying to pulling it off. I did let it dry. So I've clipped that. So this is what they look like. And if you have any that seeps out, just clip it off. And I took them outside to show you guys what they look like. Again, if you want to get the supplies to make these, you can comment the word Suncatcher below and I will send you the information to your message. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy these. Check out my page for more videos. Have a great day.